I don't want that a certain illnesses or emotions or feelings will dictate how I live my life. What I do is I try as much as possible. I condition myself as much as possible that when I am in the middle of that battleground, I practice myself to do affirmations like that. That I need to calm down, that everything will be okay, that I just need to feel all of these emotions and feelings so that they feel seen and heard, just like people. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another session of this podcast. As the previous podcast that we have, I always talk about complicated or complex topics because I love talking about them, and for the hope that maybe there is someone out there or a group of people that actually relate to this or needed this kind of pod podcasts or videos. So the topic that we have today is I actually written this last night here in my laptop, lobby laptop, so that my thoughts and what I wanted to say here could be spontaneous and actually organized. I try my best to actually be concise as much as possible and organized as much as possible so that you all can deal with me. So the topic that we have is how I deal with dissociating and anxiety. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but it's all about anxiety. Yeah, a lot of common people nowadays, especially in the younger generations, actually dealing with it, highs and lows, and it's feels like a never-ending process of dealing with it and becoming okay with it because you're living with it now. And yeah, it's all about anxiety. Why I wanted to talk about this is, to be honest, is yesterday I got pretty overwhelmed with the schedule that we have in the university because, as I talked about in the previous podcast, I take another course after graduating in this other course that I have, which is tourism, and now I'm taking psychology, which is, for me, in my own opinion take is much more intimidating and complicated, or yeah, rather hard course. So, what's the deal with me for taking that? Is because I think it's going to help me, yeah, in a sense, and to understand myself and especially other people's behavior and also myself, right? But yeah, psychology is complex, it's broad, and it's on demand when you really think about it 5 years from now. Let's talk about anxiety. So, as I written here in laptop, from the couple of years I've been dealing with it, and actually I was diagnosed with it, but I actually stopped taking my medications because I observed that it doesn't help me and just worsen my anxiety symptoms. And I was like, as a confident person, I believe that I can deal with it without taking any meds, like facing everyday life and knowing what can trigger me or how I even cope with it. So, in this podcast, I believe that there's still a lot of people who are unaware or even don't believe in psychology, psychiatry, and any other terms that they have. So, I mean, my point is they don't believe in diagnosing themselves professionally. I mean, you can't say that you have anxiety if you're not diagnosed professionally. You can't undiagnose yourself unprofessionally. You need to go to some professionals so that they can confirm that, and they can help you in their methods as much as possible. So yeah, um, this will be unprofessional advice for me because I am dealing with it, as I said earlier, without meds. Yeah. And I believe it's not severe because I still can function in everyday life as long as I can cope with it, or I know what to not do and what to do so that, living could be bearable and actually living spontaneously. I believe also that there's still a lot of people who don't, from the very first place, they don't know or they're not aware that they have it. And also, maybe they have it, but they don't know how to deal with it or cope with it. So, yeah, that's my advice, that you need to seek professional help so that you can be more self aware and more, what's the term? More self aware and actually help yourself professionally. So, the very first step that I do, that I do, very first step that I do when I'm dealing with this is recognizing and analyzing if it's anxiety. You know, you just know when it is. But do you all want me to like define it based on the internet definition of it? Yeah, that's much better. Definition here on the internet, which is Google. In psychology, anxiety is a complex emotional state characterized by feelings of apprehension, tension, and unease stemming from the anticipation of a future threat. So we have here the keyword future threat, as if our body are predicting or sensing a future threat, like whatever it is. So the first thing that I do is I analyze or recognize if it's anxiety. So, as a person who deals with it and actually familiar with what it feels like, I know it. I just knew it right away. But if you don't know, it is the definition of it. But yeah, as I said earlier, it's much better if you consult to a professional that is actually knowledgeable about it so that you can be diagnosed professionally and actually it's beneficial for you because you just can't diagnose yourself unprofessionally. Yeah. So when I recognize that it's anxiety, even though I know that I'm self-aware of that, hyper aware of that, I observe from the couple of years of experiencing that is that my anxiety worsen when I'm trying to know the answers right away. Like for example, I am the kind of person who questions why I feel this way. But actually, if you're experiencing anxiety, you just don't know the answers right away why you feel that way. Your body just sense the tension, the apprehension, the future threat. It just senses your body just senses it, and basically just pure emotions and feelings, even though it's sometimes you just don't know the answer. So from the couple of years, I feel like what worsened my anxiety is that I seek answers logically and rationally so that I can deal with it quickly. Like I'm not acknowledging my feelings and emotions. Like I'm not making them feel seen and heard so that it worsen. But the method that actually works for me is that I just feel it. I just feel it and be patient until they go away. And also breathing exercises like meditating or just breathing exercises like inhale and exhale, and comforting yourself that everything will be right, that you are now in a safe place. Because I'm not saying that it's easy to do. It's a battleground. It's a battleground actually. When you're in the middle of the process of it, when you're experiencing that, right? But yeah, what I do is I try as much as possible. I condition myself as much as possible that when I am in the middle of that battleground, I practice myself to do affirmations like that. That I need to calm down, that everything will be okay, that I just need to feel all of these emotions and feelings so that they feel seen and heard, just like people, metaphorically. And that works for me. And I wish that also works for you all, whoever watching this. Yeah, acknowledging your feelings and emotions is important. Really experiencing this in the daily basis as an anxious person, I feel so passionate about talking about this on the internet because I feel like this is going to be a bigger impact. Because I just know how it feels when dealing with this, and I just want people to feel less alone with this because this is so hard to cope with it, to live with it, to just accept that, oh, maybe forever you're going to deal with this. But that's life. Just accept it. So yeah, actually I have a copy here, so I could be spontaneous with talking about this. So passionate about this. So going back, really I think is so. Hmm, so yeah, as far as I'm knowledgeable about different methods of therapies, there is also a method of therapy where a certain professional talks on their client and they challenge their limiting beliefs and the things that they worry about, problems, etc. So, actually, as this is going to be in professional advice, I also wanted to add that the thing that I also do to cope with it and deal with it is I challenge my limiting beliefs, my negative thoughts, because I believe that when we are in the middle of the battleground of anxiety we're dealing with this is we all feel emotions and feelings, and if you really think about it, that's all subjective. And sometimes it's funny because it's not even rational or being logical or not being grounded in reality. So I challenge my limiting beliefs, my thoughts, my negative thoughts, and asking its existence, its existence, like where do I even come up with this conclusion? Like, is this really helping me, or is this just protecting me from a perceived threat? So by asking that sort of question to yourself when you are dealing with your subconscious thoughts, ask yourself if that thoughts is helping you or just protecting you from perceived threat. So why I say that, mention that, is because I believe that most of the time our anxiety are helpful because obviously it perceives future threats, making our brain feel safe, feel in control. But most of the time, also, in my own opinion and on my in my own perspective, it just making us safe, making us small, making us not take the risk. Because if you really think about it, not every risk are bad, right? There are good risk and bad risk. The bad risks are the one that can be that you can be in a situation of life or death situations. But in good risk, it's actually the one that it's riskier because it's unfamiliar, it's new to you, and it became risk because it's unfamiliar, it's new to you, and you needed to go outside of your comfort zone. That's why it calls risk good risk, but it's good risk. It's going to make you grow, beneficial for your growth. So yeah, and I deal a lot of it, and it's important and relevant for me to question every time that I'm dealing with anxiety, because most of the time it's just keeping me small, keeping me inside the box, and not helps me to grow. Because there's a lot of things that you should risk in order for you to grow, and not every risk are bad. I love talking about this. And also the yeah, also it's also beneficial for us to not ask ourselves right away why we feel this way, how I even figure this out. Because, babe, you are dealing with this. Actually, as a person that practices self compassion and self care in my own perspective, not in the cliche way of the internet of self care, I allow myself to just feel anxious throughout the day, or maybe 2 to 3 days. I mean, there's no time frame for that. What my point is, just allow yourself to feel all of that until it gets better, because it just worsens our anxiety, especially if we have or we are craving a sense of control that we need to figure this out again. We need to figure it out by tomorrow so that I can still function. But yeah, I get you all. And as much as possible, what I'm talking about here is what works for me, and I'm not pressuring you all or wanting to control you or all that. What works for me also works for you, because it's not. But take what works for you. This is just an unprofessional advice from a person who is diagnosed with it. Take what works for you, explore what works for you, because the main point is you don't have a choice, actually. You don't. It's possible to make this long because I love talking about it, as I said earlier. Oh yeah, this is going to be my personal take on dealing with anxiety and coping with it, and my experiences on it. Because I feel like if I address what I feel about it and think about it logically and subjectively, I feel like there's someone out there that really needs this. So basically, I think about anxiety that it's beneficial for me. I'm not saying that we should I'm not saying that I love struggling or sometimes suffering from it. I mean, it's a different definition. Struggling and suffering from it and living with it. So, I love to use the term living with it because I have no choice. Actually, I just can't wait for me to live my life, and I just can't wait to live my life after it's gone, because I don't know, it's just, why would I wait, right? Like, I feel like Not that I strongly believe. I feel like it always appear and disappear, and I just needed to live with it, cope with it, and deal with it, just as I'm doing in the past years. And I believe that anxiety is beneficial for me in a sense that it just reveals what I needed to make it right in my life as far as I know. Because I am a strongly believer that every emotions and feelings are there because they are telling you something. I'm not that I'm saying all of this because I'm manipulating you into thinking that, oh, you are suffering right now with this specific certain mental illnesses or emotions or feelings because it it's telling you something or it happens for a reason. I don't want that for you all to perceive me as a kind of person. But for me in a sense, anxiety is there because it's telling me something. Especially when I'm journaling and reflecting about my life. I love reflecting. I love organizing my thoughts so that I feel like I'm in control, and also that I feel knowledgeable about why I feel this way. How can I even improve in this? How can I make this situation or circumstances be useful for me, and especially in the future and in the present or what? And yeah, it's beneficial also. And also, I love talking about this part now because I also believe that, as I said earlier, anxiety is keeping us small. That's why it's relevant for us to self-reflect if anxiety, if you're dealing with it, is it helping you why you're feeling that way, or is it helping you for your growth, or is it helping you so that you just can be inside of your box? Because one way or another they have their purposes. And yeah, what I'm talking about. I decided that since I'm living with this and coping with this, I don't want that a certain illnesses or emotions or feelings will dictate how I live my life. Just as I am a strong believer that I will control my life, that no matter circumstances happens, it can't dictate how I live my present life and future life, whatever in the past happened. And the same with this, if you're dealing with this anxiety, if you're dealing with this, it's the same. You just can't be controlled with whatever that you're dealing with, because or else you're not living your life. So even though I struggle a lot, I just accept it. I'm not that saying that I love that I have them. I don't. I just don't have a choice. It's crazy. It's funny. It's funny because you're so self-aware that you're you're in the middle of the battleground, but baby, at the end of the day, you still have a survival instinct to keep going. And I hope this podcast episode helps because this is so common, especially in the younger generations. And as a student who are taking psychology these days, I hope I could be a better listener, counselor, and even psychologist in the future, or a neuroscientist. I would love to be that in the future. So yeah, and also I feel like I believe that I'm I needed to face all of this before before I face with my future clients, because it should start from us, right? You know the quotes about it, that maybe it's so crucial for me to know myself better before knowing them, you know, to be a good listener to myself, and you be a good listener to yourself. Everything starts from us. Really think about it. Just having wisdom on things. Because as we age, as the years goes by, it's going to be harder and harder and harder. And you just needed to accept that you need to be more wiser, more smarter, more comfortable living with fear. You know, like it it is what it is. So thank you so much guys for watching this, and I hope this channel in the future blows up, because I really want to have my target audience to have them here. So thank you so much guys. You can do it, guys. You can do it. You're not alone. I know it sounds cliche. You're not alone, but in the end of the day, you don't have a choice, and you just have yourself. And I know you can do it, because I believe that I can do it. Thank you.